They meet again. The Super Bowl is set, and for the second time in 3 years, it's the Chiefs and the Eagles. How did we get here? We'll break down Championship Sunday and much more. It's the Jake Asman Football Show, and it starts right now.
Oh, yeah. It's time for the Jake Asman Football Show. Brought to you by BetUS. Expert betting odds and fantasy stats. So let's get into some NFL football. Brought to you by our friends at BetUS. So get your questions ready. Here's your host, Jake Asman.
Here we go on a Monday following Championship Sunday in the NFL. The Super Bowl is set. We're going to be talking a lot about the matchup between the Chiefs and the Eagles. If you want to bet on the game, all the prop bets, player props, parlay opportunities, the color of the Gatorade that's poured on the winning coach, BetUS is your go-to place for that. Sign up today and take advantage of a 150% sign-up bonus with your first deposit and a 125% bonus with your second and third deposit. Shout out to BetUS for being the presenting sponsor of the Jake Asman Football Show. Let's talk about the games from yesterday and then some initial thoughts on the Super Bowl 59 matchup down in New Orleans. And real quick, we will be doing our show from New Orleans starting next week from the convention center right near the stadium. We'll have big-name guests set to join us all throughout the week to preview the Super Bowl and everything else going on in the NFL. So stay tuned for coverage of that. We'll start with the NFC. Eagles completely overpowered the Commanders to get back to this game. The issue for the Commanders was that ultimately they needed to play nearly perfect if they were going to win, and they committed too many turnovers to give themselves a legit chance. Offensively, Jaden Daniels played well. But the fumble early in this game and then the fumble on the kickoff in this game by Washington ultimately doomed them. The turnovers and penalties doomed the Commanders. Diami Brown had the ball punched out in the first quarter. Jeremy McNichols had the kickoff return taken away. Austin Eckler had the third quarter fumble that basically ruined any chance of a comeback. Forget the Jaden Daniels interception late. That was just a prayer at that point. But Philly turned those turnovers into 28 points. You had some ill-timed penalties. Marshawn Lattimore called for defensive pass interference on a third down to the end zone in the first half, which led to a touchdown. The Commanders were flagged 8 times. So you're just not going to win on the road against a team like the Eagles if you do that. It's an amazing season for Washington. There's no shame in losing to Philadelphia. An Eagles team that just dominated the line of scrimmage. I mean, Saquon Barkley continues to have one of the great seasons a running back has ever had. I mean, he averaged 7.9 yards per carry, 118 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 15 carries. And it's not like Barkley dominated the game with just the volume of carries, right? You heard me just say 15 carries. He was basically a decoy out there. Jalen Hurts made plays with his legs. And for the first time, we saw Jalen Hurts really make plays with his arm. I mean, Jalen Hurts having 246 passing yards, that was his best output since week 14. There was questions coming in about Jalen Hurts' banged up knee. He's wearing the knee brace on that knee. He looked healthy to me, and now he gets the extra week to get even healthier before this game against Kansas City. And if you remember, Jalen Hurts played phenomenal in that Super Bowl 2 years ago. That was like a 38-35 shootout. So it'll be interesting to see, is this now the real Jalen Hurts going into this game against KC, how he plays against them in that Super Bowl matchup coming up. But Hurts made the right reads. He threw some incredible dimes when he had to. On that big 4th and 5 in the first half, with the Commanders still in the game, Jalen Hurts nailed that throw to A.J. Brown. Put it right there. And once again, the Eagles made the Commanders pay for every turnover in this game. 55 points for Philadelphia. Second most in a playoff game in team history. They had 58 in the 95 wildcard round. Most ever by any team in a conference title game. Washington just had no answers. I thought it'd be a competitive game. I thought it'd be close. And maybe if those turnovers didn't happen, it would have been a lot closer. But this was sheer domination by Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they're the better team. There's no shame in that. Ultimately, you got to give a tremendous amount of credit to a guy that, I get it, not a lot of people like. He's not the most likable of guys. But can anyone dispute the greatness of Nick Sirianni as a coach? I mean, this guy's been an NFL head coach for 4 years. And Nick Sirianni, every year he's been a head coach, has had his team in the playoffs, and now for the second time in 4 years, has his team in the Super Bowl. The guy just wins. He just wins. I mean, what else can you say? Year 1, 9-8, playoff appearance. Year 2, 14-3, Super Bowl appearance. Year 3, 11-6, playoff appearance. Year 4, 14-3, Super Bowl appearance. Overall record, including playoffs, 53-23. Howie Roseman, one of the great executives in all of sports. I mean, look what the Eagles have done. They went to a Super Bowl with Andy Reid. Andy Reid gets fired. Doug Peterson comes in. They get to a Super Bowl with him. They win a Super Bowl with him. And now he gets fired. You bring in Nick Sirianni, and he's in his second Super Bowl. People don't want to hear it, but Sirianni is an outstanding coach. The Eagles took a step back last year when they still went 11-6, had to replace both coordinators again. You bring in Vic Fangio, certainly worth the price that it took to get him and make him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. You bring in Kellen Moore, who has done an amazing job of marrying the Eagles' rushing attack with the passing attack. The Eagles are a great franchise. And Sirianni's a great coach. Jalen Hurts has not lost a start that he finished the entire game from start to finish since September. And he's the first quarterback since John Elway to get back to a Super Bowl in which his team lost the first Super Bowl that he was in. They're a great organization. And they absolutely have a chance to go out there and beat the Chiefs. I think it will be a great Super Bowl. We'll spend more time talking about it as we get closer. But the way Philadelphia is now playing, with the way their defense forces turnovers, with the way that the Eagles enter that game, why can't they win? The key is going to be, hey, you got to keep Mahomes off the field. And Philly has the offensive line and the running game to be able to do it. We'll see what happens with Cam Jurgens. Landon Dickerson, who had to shift from guard to center, he suffered a knee injury. So they're a little banged up front, but they should have some time now to maybe get healthy. But ultimately, you have 7 rushing touchdowns in a playoff game, you're going to win. I mean, how about this for a stat? Philadelphia yesterday, 7 rushing touchdowns, tied for the most in a playoff game ever with the 1940 Chicago Bears. A 73-0 win over Washington, by the way, in that 1940 playoff matchup. What a game that was, huh? Now, ultimately, from a Washington standpoint, I'll say it again, there's no shame in losing to Philadelphia. Jaden Daniels finishes one of the all-time great rookie seasons, maybe the greatest rookie quarterback season. No shame in going down. If you're Washington, you feel like you got the quarterback and you have hope for years to come. So it was all Eagles yesterday, but the Commanders will be heard from going forward. Now, as far as the AFC title game, let me say this. I don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. If they were playing basically any other team in the AFC, I would not have had to root for them yesterday. I'd be rooting against them. But unfortunately, the Ravens blowing it last week in Buffalo left me with no choice. For at least one more week, I had to root for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they do what they always do. Beat the Buffalo Bills in any big spot. Who cares that the Bills always beat the Chiefs in the regular season? When it matters the most, they're now 4-0 against the Buffalo Bills. And this game yesterday once again, just proves that until someone beats the champs, they are still the champs. And what I mean by that is literally to beat the champs, you have to play a nearly flawless game. Because Kansas City's not going to beat themselves, and we saw that again yesterday. You know, Kansas City hasn't scored above 30 points all year. And then yesterday, what do? Put up 32. This game, once again, was ripe for the taking. The ball is in Josh Allen's hands, down 3, with an opportunity to go and win the game, and he couldn't do it. And I understand it's never just on one guy, but ultimately, before I hear everyone bitching and complaining about the officiating and the Chiefs getting all the calls, ultimately, the ball was in the hands of Josh Allen, down 3 with 3 minutes to go, and his team could not get it done. You can complain all you want. Josh Allen had a chance to beat the champs, right? He said after the game, if you want to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. Well, they couldn't do it. That, to me, is where this starts. The opportunity was there. Buffalo got to midfield, but on 4th and 5, you saw great coaching on full display. Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo calls a corner blitz, one they haven't called all game. Allen, it's amazing he got the ball out and heaved to Dalton Kincaid, who couldn't come down with the catch. And then ultimately, Sean McDermott's defense, right? Defensive coach, they couldn't get off the field. They gave up 2 first downs as the Chiefs iced the game. Allen played well. He avoided turnovers, even though at the beginning of this game, his first 2 passes easily could have been intercepted. But once again, the result's the same. Buffalo could not get it done. This is like watching Michael Jordan prevent all these great players from winning championships in the 90s. Mahomes is that guy. And what Mahomes has is the ultimate dream situation. Great coach, a defensive coordinator that's never leaving. He's never getting another head coaching job for whatever reason. It seems like that's never going to happen for Spags, so he'll continue to be there. And ultimately, Kansas City just finds ways to do it. And the Chiefs' defense was the difference in this game. The Chiefs in short yardage, their defense against Josh Allen, stuffing him 3 times on quarterback sneaks. When's the last time you see that? I looked it up. It's the most run stuffs by a defense against quarterback sneaks in a game in the next-gen stats era. So that's since 2016. That was a huge difference in the game. Kansas City, they gave up some big plays. Josh Allen's going to do that. But when they needed to stop, they got it. The Chiefs generated 2 3-and-outs and turned Buffalo over on downs at midfield in that 4th quarter. When in doubt, Spags is going to blitz. And the Bills had to have known that was coming, yet Josh Allen panicked and threw up that heave. Allen completed just 5 of 14 passes for 66 yards when he was under pressure yesterday. And once again, the Bills' defense, which was supposed to be a strength, they couldn't get any big stop when it mattered. They couldn't do it. And that's the difference in the game. A big injury in this game was when Christian Benford, the corner on the Bills, left with a concussion, because then Khair Elam was forced into action, and Mahomes picked on him. But once again, ball in the hands of Josh Allen. 3 minutes to go. A chance to go down the field and get Buffalo to the Super Bowl. He didn't do it. Patrick Mahomes has done it too many times to count. Allen didn't do it. And by the way, when you look at Mahomes now, right? The fact that he's in the conversation to be the greatest of all time already is remarkable. It really might one day come down to the fact that Tom Brady, when he was with the Patriots in Mahomes' first year starting, the year Mahomes won the MVP out of nowhere that first year, Tom Brady and the Patriots went into Arrowhead, won that game in overtime to go to the Super Bowl. And then Tom Brady, when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 years later, faces Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and Brady's team beat Mahomes' team. Like, it really might come down to those two head-to-head wins in the playoffs over Mahomes being the difference maker in the GOAT debate down the line. Because Patrick Mahomes is already on his way to being, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, the second best quarterback of all time. I mean, his career is remarkable. Patrick Mahomes, career in the playoffs, 50 total touchdowns, only 10 total turnovers, 17-3 in the playoffs. He already now has the second most playoff wins of all time behind Brady. He's tied Joe Montana. Patrick Mahomes has only been a starter for 7 years in the league. He didn't play his first year. He sat. So every year Mahomes has been a starter, they at the bare minimum have reached the AFC Championship game. And now Mahomes is trying to do something that has never been done by winning 3 consecutive Super Bowls, at which down the line in the GOAT debate, him versus Brady, that's going to be used on the Mahomes side if Mahomes can successfully lead the three-peat. Because no one's done it. I mean, AFC Championship game every year. The AFC is the Chiefs Invitational. They're there every year. And Brady and Burrow are the only ones that have beaten Mahomes in the playoffs. That's it. No other quarterback has been able to do it. And Mahomes losing to Brady in that first AFC title game he was in his first year starting. And then that Super Bowl win by Brady, Mahomes was in his third year starting. Just unbelievable. I mean, every year Mahomes has played, he's in at least the AFC Championship game. And now he's already won 3 Super Bowls. He's going for his 4th in his 5th Super Bowl. Think about that. The fact that it's already a conversation is a testament to Mahomes' greatness. And it really one day might come down to those head-to-head games against Tom Brady. Crazy. Now, as far as this game goes, right, an early look at it, once again, some of the key players in the game 2 years ago are no longer on either of these teams. For instance, remember Kadarius Toney played a huge role in that Super Bowl a few years ago? He's no longer a Chief. Saquon Barkley wasn't an Eagle yet the last time these two teams met. But a lot of the main characters are still there. Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni. A.J. Brown and Travis Kelce. Chris Jones and Darius Slay. So you still have the storylines that will write themselves. The all-time winningest coach in Eagles history is the guy who's coach of the Chiefs now. And can Philadelphia beat their old coach and prevent the Chiefs from going for the three-peat? And it's a very unique situation because I think a lot of people don't like the Chiefs, but no one likes the Eagles. Right? You don't want Philadelphia fans to see another championship, and I don't really hate the Eagles, but I don't love Philly sports fans as a New Yorker. So, who are you rooting for in this game? That's the question. I was hoping Washington would win, and then it's a no-brainer. You root for the underdog. But it's going to be fascinating to see how this game shakes out. All the storylines in this game, they write themselves. And here's a comp that was sent to me by Black Irish on Twitter. Something to get you to think about something in this game. In 2007, Tom Brady was in his 8th NFL season and was playing for his 4th Super Bowl title. But he lost to a team from the NFC East. In 2024, Patrick Mahomes is in his 8th NFL season and will be playing for his 4th Super Bowl championship against a team, you guessed it, from the NFC East. I mentioned this earlier, but here's more context to a stat about Jalen Hurts returning to the Super Bowl. Since the start of the 1979 season, 28 QBs have lost their Super Bowl debut. So far, only 3 of the 28 returned to start another Super Bowl. Elway, Jim Kelly, and now Jalen Hurts will become the 3rd. We'll see if Philadelphia can prevent Kansas City from making history. The early line at BetUS has the Kansas City Chiefs as a 1.5-point favorite. So we'll have plenty of time to break down this game. But my early thoughts are I can't pick against Kansas City. Someone's going to have to beat them for me to pick against them. That's how I feel going into this game. Now, maybe I'll change my mind over the 2 weeks of buildup, but that's my feel early on. I can't pick against Kansas City until I actually will just watch someone straight up beat them. That's how I feel. Should be a great matchup, though. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it on the Jake Asman Football Show. NYJ with a super chat for us before we wrap up a program here on a Monday. He has Becton playing better accomplishment. I'm not sure who has Becton playing better, but the Philadelphia Eagles have great coaching. So give credit to Sirianni, give credit to the O-line coach, because the offensive line for Philadelphia has been outstanding. And that includes Mekhi Becton, who's now willing to play guard for the Eagles, even though he wasn't willing to be a team player for the Jets. Oh, by the way. Man, what a weekend. I know everyone besides AFC East fans were rooting for the Chiefs, or rooting for the Bills, excuse me, but let me tell you, I wasn't. Suck it, Buffalo. I'll end the show with that. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Hit the like button on your way out of here. This has been another rousing rendition of the Jake Asman Football Show presented by BetUS. Sign up today and take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus with your first deposit. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's show. Went 1-on-1 with the picks. So entering the Super Bowl, I am percentage points ahead of Cole Thompson in our competition. It will come down to the Super Bowl for the pick competition all season long on the Jake Asman Football Show. You want drama? You got drama. Once again, thanks to you for watching. We got 2 weeks of build-up now, baby. So get ready for that. I'll talk to you guys later this week on the Jake Asman Football Show. If you're a Jet fan, I'm going live in a few minutes on the Jake Asman Jet Show. So I'll see you there. Have a good day, everyone. And thanks again for tuning in to our show presented by BetUS.